First contact and crisis. The vastness of space stretched before Captain Sarah Chen as she stood on the bridge of the horizon, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. Her dark eyes, sharp with intelligence, scanned the unfamiliar star system they had just entered. "Status report," Sarah commanded, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. Lieutenant Raj Patel, her second-in-command, responded promptly. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're picking up unusual energy signatures from the third planet. It's unlike anything we've seen before." Sarah nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. This was why they had ventured so far from home, to discover the unknown. "Take us in closer, Helm. Let's see what we found." As the horizon approached the mysterious planet, the crew's anticipation grew. Scans revealed a thriving ecosystem and clear signs of advanced civilization, but it was the sudden burst of communication that made them all hold their breath. "Captain," exclaimed Communications Officer Li Wei, her eyes wide. "We're receiving a transmission. It's not human." Sarah's heart raced. First contact. The moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries. On screen, she ordered, straightening her uniform. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike any they had ever seen. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent blue hue, large almond-shaped eyes blinked with intelligence, and delicate tendrils framed its face like a living crown. "Greetings, travelers," the alien spoke, its voice melodious and somehow translated into perfect English. "I am Matriarch Zira of the Zithian people. We welcome you to our world." Sarah stepped forward, her training kicking in despite her awe. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Horizon. We come in peace and friendship." The exchange that followed was nothing short of miraculous. The Zithians, it turned out, were a peaceful, highly advanced species with technology that surpassed humanity's in many areas. They had been observing Earth for some time, waiting for humans to develop the capability for deep space travel before making contact. As the Horizon entered orbit around the Zithian homeworld, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of profound optimism. This was a moment that would change the course of human history forever. But fate had other plans. The attack came without warning. A massive vessel, dark and ominous, suddenly appeared from behind one of the planet's moons. Before anyone could react, it opened fire on the Zithian orbital defenses. "Red alert!" Sarah shouted, snapped out of her reverie by the sudden violence. Shields up, weapons online. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as the crew rushed to battle stations. On the view screen, Matriarch Zura's face was a mask of fear and determination. "Captain Chen, we are under attack by the Krell, a hostile species that has long sought to conquer our world. Please, you must retreat, save yourselves." Sarah's jaw set in determination. "With all due respect, Matriarch, we don't abandon our friends. Horizon will stand with you." What followed was a battle unlike any in human history. The Horizon, designed for exploration rather than combat, nevertheless threw itself into the fray. Sarah's quick thinking and the crew's determination allowed them to hold their own against the technologically superior Krell vessels. As the battle raged, Sarah noticed a Krell ship breaking through the Zithian defenses, heading straight for the planet's surface, and the location of the Zithian leadership. "Raj, you have the bridge," Sarah commanded, racing towards the shuttle bay. "I'm going planetside." "Captain, that's too dangerous," Raj protested, but Sarah was already gone. Piloting a small, agile shuttle, Sarah weaved through the chaos of the space battle. Her years of training paid off as she expertly dodged debris and weapons fire, pushing the shuttle to its limits as she entered the planet's atmosphere. On the ground, the scene was one of devastation. The beautiful Zithian capital was in flames, its people fleeing in terror. Sarah landed her shuttle near the governmental complex, grabbing a pulse rifle as she disembarked. She fought her way through the streets, her human physiology giving her an unexpected advantage in the planet's slightly lower gravity. As she approached the central building, she saw a group of Krell soldiers, massive, reptilian creatures, dragging away a familiar figure. Matriarch Zira. Without hesitation, Sarah opened fire. Her surprise attack caught the Krell off guard, and her superior marksmanship made short work of the alien soldiers. As the last one fell, Sarah rushed to Zira's side. "Are you all right?" she asked, helping the Zithian leader to her feet. Zira looked at Sarah with a mixture of gratitude and awe. You came for me. Why?" Sarah managed a small smile despite the chaos around them. "Like I said, we don't abandon our friends." A rumble shook the ground, and they looked up to see the Krell mothership beginning to retreat. In orbit, the combined forces of the Horizon and the remaining Zithian ships had somehow managed to turn the tide. As the dust settled and the immediate danger passed, Sarah found herself standing amidst the Zithian leadership, hailed as a hero. Matriarch Zira approached her, flanked by two younger Zithians who bore a striking resemblance to her. "Captain Sarah Chen," Zira spoke, her voice carrying a weight of formality. "You have saved not only my life, but the future of our entire civilization. We owe you a debt that can never be fully repaid." Sarah shook her head, feeling somewhat uncomfortable with the praise. "I only did what was right. Anyone would have done the same." Zira's eyes sparkled with an emotion Sarah couldn't quite identify. "No, Captain, what you did was extraordinary, and it demands an extraordinary response." She gestured to the two Zithians beside her. "These are my daughters, Lyra and Vela. In accordance with our most sacred traditions, I offer them to you in marriage." Sarah's eyes widened in shock, her mind reeling at the unexpected turn of events. As she looked from Zira to her daughters, then back to the devastated city around them, she realized that her actions had set in motion events that would reshape not just two civilizations, but her own life in ways she could never have imagined. The first contact had become a crucible of fire, forging an alliance in the heat of battle. But as the adrenaline of combat faded, Sarah knew that the real challenges, diplomatic, cultural, and deeply personal, were only just beginning. Cultural exchange and growing threats. The days following the Krell attack were a whirlwind of activity. As the Zithians began rebuilding their damaged cities, Captain Sarah Chen found herself thrust into the role of impromptu ambassador, mediating between her crew and the alien civilization they had so suddenly become entangled with. Sarah stood on a balcony overlooking the Zithian capital, its towering spires of crystal and bioorganic compounds glittering in the light of the planet's twin suns. Despite the recent devastation, the city was already showing signs of recovery, a testament to the resilience and advanced technology of its inhabitants. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" A melodious voice spoke from behind her. Sarah turned to see Lyra, one of Matriarch Zira's daughters, approaching. "It is," Sarah agreed, trying to ignore the flutter in her stomach. The marriage proposal hung unspoken between them, a topic neither had dared to broach directly yet. "Your people's ability to rebuild so quickly is remarkable." Lyra smiled, her iridescent skin shimmering. "We've had to become adept at recovery. The Krell have been a threat for generations." Sarah frowned. "Tell me more about them. If we're to help defend against future attacks, we need to understand what we're up against." As Lyra began explaining the history of the Krell-Zithian conflict, Sarah found herself captivated not just by the information, but by the alien princess herself. Lyra's intelligence and passion were evident, and Sarah couldn't help but feel drawn to her. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Vela, Lyra's sister. Where Lyra was all grace and diplomacy, Vela exuded an aura of strength and determination. "Captain," Vela nodded in greeting. "Our mother requests your presence in the war room. The Krell has sent a transmission." Sarah's expression hardened. "Lead the way." In the Zithian war room, a holographic display showed the positions of known Krell forces. Matriarch Zira stood at the center, her face grave as she greeted Sarah. "Captain, thank you for coming. The Krell Supreme Commander has issued an ultimatum. They demand our immediate surrender, or they will return with a force that will, in their words, cleanse our world of all life. Sarah's mind raced, analyzing the situation. How long do we have? They've given us 3 planetary rotations to comply, Zillara replied. Sarah nodded, her tactical training kicking in. Then we have 3 days to prepare our defenses and come up with a counter-strategy. Matriarch, with your permission, I'd like to coordinate with your military leaders. The Horizon may not be a warship, but we have technology and tactics that might give us an edge. Zira's eyes shimmered with gratitude. Of course, Captain, we welcome any assistance you can provide. As the room erupted into activity, Sarah found herself working closely with both Lyra and Vela. Lyra's diplomatic skills proved invaluable in smoothing over cultural misunderstandings between the humans and Scythians, while Vela's strategic mind matched Sarah's own. Over the next few days, as they raced against time to prepare for the Krell onslaught, Sarah found herself growing closer to the Scythian princesses. Lyra's gentle wisdom and Vela's fierce determination complemented each other, and Sarah was surprised to find herself imagining a future where Zira's offer wasn't quite so outlandish. But the looming threat of the Krell kept such thoughts at bay. Sarah spent long hours poring over tactical displays, integrating human and Scythian technologies, and training mixed-species crews to work together effectively. On the eve of the Krell's deadline, Sarah stood once again on the balcony, this time flanked by Lyra and Vela. The city below was a hive of activity, final preparations being made for the battle to come. Whatever happens tomorrow, Sarah said softly, I want you both to know that it's been an honor to work alongside you and your people. Lyra placed a gentle hand on Sarah's arm. The honor has been ours, Sarah. You've given us hope where there was none. Vela nodded in agreement, and whatever comes, we face it together. As the 3 of them looked out over the city, a streak of light across the sky caught their attention. At first, Sarah thought it might be a shooting star, a good omen for the battle ahead. But as more lights appeared, her blood ran cold with the realization. The Krell had arrived early. Alarms blared across the city as the Scythian defense systems came online. Sarah's communicator crackled to life with urgent messages from the Horizon. I have to get back to my ship, Sarah said, already moving towards the door. Lyra and Vela exchanged a look before Vela spoke. We're coming with you. Sarah paused, about to protest, but the determination in their eyes stopped her. She nodded. All right, but stay close. As they raced through the corridors of the Scythian palace, Sarah's mind was already formulating plans, adapting to the new situation. The early arrival of the Krell had caught them off guard, but it also meant the enemy hadn't given them time to fully prepare. There might be an advantage in that. They reached the shuttle bay just as another explosion rocked the building. As Sarah powered up the shuttle, she saw Matriarch Zira rushing towards them. Mother, Lyra called out, come with us. But Zira shook her head. My place is here, with our people. Lyra, Vela, go with Captain Chen. Help her save us all. Her eyes met Sarah's. Captain, I entrust you with my daughters and the fate of our world. Before Sarah could respond, Zira turned and rushed back into the palace. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on Sarah's shoulders as she guided the shuttle out of the bay and into the chaos of the battle-filled sky. As they ascended towards the horizon, weaving through debris and weapons fire, Sarah allowed herself a moment to glance at Lyra and Vela. Their faces were set with determination, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Sarah turned her attention back to piloting, her resolve hardening. She had come to this alien world as an explorer and found herself thrust into the role of protector. Now, with the lives of 2 civilizations hanging in the balance, she was determined to become something more. A savior. The shuttle docked with the horizon amidst a flurry of activity. As Sarah led Lyra and Vela onto the bridge, she was already barking orders, her crew responding with well-trained efficiency. The battle for Scythia had begun in earnest, and with it, a new chapter in human-alien relations. Whatever the outcome, Sarah knew that nothing would ever be the same again. Battle for Zythia. The bridge of the horizon was a hive of controlled chaos as Captain Sarah Chen took her place at the command chair. Lyra and Vela stood nearby, that alien presence a stark reminder of how much had changed in such a short time. Status report. Sarah barked, her eyes fixed on the main view screen showing the unfolding battle. Lieutenant Raj Patel's voice was tense but steady. Krell forces have breached the outer defense grid. Zythian ships are engaging, but they're outnumbered 3-1. Sarah's mind raced, analyzing the tactical display. The Krell's early arrival had caught them off guard, but it also meant the enemy wasn't fully prepared either. There might be an advantage in that. Helm, bring us about. Weapons, target the lead Krell vessel. Let's show them what humanity can do. As the horizon maneuvered into position, Sarah felt a gentle touch on her arm. It was Lyra, her large eyes filled with a mixture of fear and hope. Captain, Sarah, our people have never faced an assault of this magnitude. Are you certain we can prevail? Sarah met Lyra's gaze, allowing a small, confident smile to cross her lips. No, I'm not certain, but I am determined. And sometimes, determination is enough to change the course of history. Vela stepped forward, her warrior spirit evident in her stance. What would you have us do, Captain? We stand ready to assist in any way we can. Sarah nodded, appreciating their willingness to help. Lyra, I need you to coordinate with your people's ships. Your knowledge of Zythian tactics and capabilities will be crucial. Vela, work with our weapons officer. Your insight into Krell weaknesses could give us an edge. As the Zythian princesses moved to their assigned stations, Sarah turned her attention back to the battle. The horizon unleashed a barrage of advanced Earth weaponry, catching the lead Krell ship off guard. The alien vessel's shields flickered and failed under the assault, exploding in a brilliant flash. Direct hit, Raj called out, a note of triumph in his voice. But Sarah knew better than to celebrate too early. Stay focused. This is just the beginning. The space around Zythia became a kaleidoscope of weapons fire and explosions as the battle intensified. The horizon darted between larger Krell ships, its superior maneuverability allowing it to strike and evade with deadly efficiency. Lyra's voice cut through the tension on the bridge. Captain, the Zythian flagship is reporting heavy damage. They can't hold their position much longer. Sarah's mind whirled with possibilities. Helm, bring us alongside the Zythian flagship, shields to maximum. We'll cover them while they retreat and regroup. As the horizon moved to protect the damaged Zythian vessel, Vela called out from the weapons station. Captain, I've detected a pattern in the Krell attack formation. There's a weakness we can exploit. Sarah listened intently as Vela explained her observation. The Krell ships, while powerful, had a tendency to cluster together for mutual support. This made them formidable in a frontal assault, but potentially vulnerable to a coordinated attack from multiple angles. Excellent work, Vela, Sarah said, a plan already forming in her mind. She opened a channel to the Zythian fleet. This is Captain Chen. All ships, form up on the horizon. We're going to punch a hole right through their formation. What followed was a daring maneuver that would later be studied in military academies across 2 worlds. The horizon, flanked by the remaining Zythian ships, drove straight into the heart of the Krell fleet. Earth weapons and Zythian technology worked in concert, guided by Sarah's tactical genius and the princess's insights. The battle raged for hours, a test of endurance and will as much as firepower. The bridge of the horizon was filled with smoke and sparks as systems strained under the constant assault. But Sarah's determination never wavered, her voice remaining calm and assured even as the situation grew dire. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of combat, the tide began to turn. The Krell formation, so formidable at the start, began to crumble under the relentless assault. Their flagship is retreating, Raj announced, disbelief and joy mingling in his voice. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Press the advantage. Don't let them regroup. The combined human-Zithian fleet surged forward, harrying the retreating Krell ships. One by one, the invaders jumped to faster-than-light speed, fleeing the system they had sought to conquer. As the last Krell ship disappeared from their sensors, a stunned silence fell over the bridge of the horizon. It was broken by a cheer that started softly but quickly grew to a roar of triumph. Sarah slumped in her chair, the adrenaline of battle finally fading and leaving her exhausted. She felt a presence on either side of her and looked up to see Lyra and Vela, their faces beaming with gratitude and admiration. "You did it, Sarah," Lyra said softly. "You saved our world." Vela nodded in agreement. Never in our history has anyone stood against the Krell and emerged victorious. You have given our people more than just victory. You've given us hope. Sarah shook her head, her modesty reasserting itself. "We did this together. Human and Zithian, working as one. That's what made the difference." As the reality of their victory sank in, Sarah knew that the challenges were far from over. The Krell had been defeated, but not destroyed. The Zithian world had suffered significant damage, and the implications of this battle for Earth-Zithian relations were only beginning to unfold. But for now, as she looked at the faces of her human crew and her new Zithian allies, Sarah allowed herself to savor the moment. They had faced an overwhelming force and emerged victorious. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The comm system crackled to life, and Matriarch Zura's voice filled the bridge. "Captain Chen, words cannot express our gratitude. When you have rested, I would speak with you. There is much to discuss about our future, and yours." As Sarah acknowledged the message, she caught the meaningful glances exchanged between Lyra and Vela. She realized that in the aftermath of this historic battle, she would face a challenge of a very different kind, one that would test not her tactical skills, but her heart. The battle for Zithia was over, but for Captain Sarah Chen, the most profound adventure of her life was only just beginning. Political fallout and personal dilemmas. The days following the Battle of Zithia were a whirlwind of activity. As the Zithians began the process of rebuilding their damaged world, Captain Sarah Chen found herself at the center of a diplomatic storm that spanned two civilizations. Sarah stood before the holographic display in the Horizons conference room, facing the stern visages of Earth's United Space Command leadership. Despite the victory, their expressions were grave. Admiral Hernandez, a grizzled veteran of Earth's early space conflicts, spoke first. "Captain Chen, while we commend your actions in defending the Zithian people, your unilateral decision to involve Earth in an alien conflict has created complications." Sarah straightened her posture, ready to defend her choices. "With all due respect, Admiral, we were faced with an imminent threat. The Krell wouldn't have stopped with Zithia. Earth would have been next." Perhaps interjected Dr. Elara Wong, Earth's chief xenobiologist. "But that's not the most pressing issue at hand. Captain, we need to discuss the unusual proposal made by the Zithian leadership." Sarah felt a flush creep up her neck. News of Matriarch Zura's offer of her daughters in marriage had somehow leaked, causing a sensation back on Earth. Some hailed it as a magnificent opportunity for interspecies alliance, while others decried it as an affront to human values. "I haven't accepted the proposal," Sarah said carefully. "I understand the cultural significance for the Zithians, but I also recognize the complex implications for Earth-Zithian relations." Admiral Hernandez's expression softened slightly. "We're not here to dictate your personal decisions, Captain, but you must understand that your choice will have far-reaching consequences. Take some time to consider all angles before you decide." As the transmission ended, Sarah slumped into a chair, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. She was so lost in thought that she didn't notice Lyra enter the room until the Zithian princess spoke. "You seem troubled, Sarah," Lyra said softly, taking a seat beside her. Sarah managed a weak smile. "Just navigating the complexities of interspecies diplomacy. It's a bit more challenging than space battles." Laura's iridescent skin shimmered as she laughed lightly. I can imagine. Our people are also grappling with the changes your arrival has brought. But change isn't always a bad thing, is it? Before Sarah could respond, the door slid open again, revealing Vela. The more martial of the two princesses had a concerned look on her face. Sarah, Lyra, you need to see this, Vela said, activating the room's holographic display. The image that appeared showed a massive Krell fleet, far larger than the one they had just defeated, assembling at the edge of Zithian space. Sarah's heart sank. They're coming back, and this time, they're bringing everything they have. Vela nodded grimly. Our long-range scouts just reported in. We estimate we have less than a week before they arrive. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Sarah's mind raced, trying to formulate a plan. We need to contact Earth, she said finally. We can't face this alone. We need reinforcements, supplies, anything they can send. Laura placed a gentle hand on Sarah's arm. And what of our proposals, Sarah? I know it must seem strange to you, but in our culture, this union would solidify the alliance between our peoples. It could make a difference in convincing your leaders to commit to our defense. Sarah looked from Lyra to Vela, seeing the hope and uncertainty in their eyes. She thought of her crew, of Earth, of the Zithian people who had welcomed them. The fate of two worlds hung in the balance, and somehow, her personal decision had become entangled with the survival of both species. I need some time to think, Sarah said, standing abruptly. Excuse me. She left the conference room, her steps taking her almost unconsciously to the Horizon's observation deck. As she stared out at the stars, Sarah felt the full weight of her position crushing down on her. On one hand, she had grown genuinely fond of Lyra and Vela. Their intelligence, courage, and compassion had impressed her from the start. The idea of a life with them, bridging two cultures, was not without its appeal, and the political advantages of such a union were undeniable. On the other hand, Sarah was acutely aware of the vast differences between their species and cultures. Could such a union truly work? And what of her own desires and plans for the future? She had never imagined herself in this position. As she wrestled with these thoughts, Sarah's comm unit chirped. It was a message from Matriarch requesting her presence in the Zithian royal palace. With a deep breath, Sarah straightened her uniform. Whatever her personal feelings, she had a duty to both Earth and Zithia. The fate of two worlds rested on the decisions made in the coming days. As she made her way to the shuttle bay, Sarah's resolve hardened. She didn't have all the answers yet, but she knew one thing for certain, whether as a captain, a diplomat, or potentially as a bridge between two species, she would do whatever it took to ensure the survival and prosperity of both her people and the Zithians. The shuttle doors closed behind her, and as the small craft detached from the horizon, Sarah Chen prepared herself for the most important diplomatic mission of her life, one that would shape the future of two civilizations and determine the course of her own destiny. The final showdown. Sarah's meeting with Matriarch was intense and productive. They agreed that the only way to survive the impending Krell assault was through complete cooperation between humans and Zithians. Sarah made a daring proposal to integrate Earth and Zithian technologies and tactics into a unified defense strategy. Back on the horizon, Sarah worked tirelessly with her crew and the Zithian military to prepare for the coming battle. Lyra and Vela were constant presences, their unique insights proving invaluable. As the days passed, Sarah found her admiration for the princesses growing into something deeper. Earth, recognizing the existential threat the Krell posed, dispatched a fleet of their most advanced warships. The arrival of these reinforcements bolstered morale, but Sarah knew they were still outnumbered. On the eve of battle, Sarah stood on the bridge of the horizon, Lyra and Vela at her side. The combined Earth-Zithian fleet spread out before them, a testament to what could be achieved through cooperation. Whatever happens, Sarah said softly, I want you both to know that it's been an honor. Lyra and Vela exchanged glances, then Vela spoke. "Sarah, we understand if you can't accept our mother's proposal, but know that our feelings for you are genuine, regardless of politics." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared. The Krell had arrived. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations on both Earth and Zithia. Sarah's innovative tactics, combining Earth's adaptability with Zithian technology, kept the Krell off balance. But the enemy's overwhelming numbers began to tell. As the battle reached its climax, Sarah made a fateful decision. She would lead a small team, including Lyra and Vela, in a daring raid on the Krell flagship. Their goal, to upload a virus that would disrupt the Krell fleet's coordination. The mission was harrowing. Fighting through waves of Krell warriors, the team suffered casualties. But Sarah, Lyra, and Vela pushed on, their diverse skills complementing each other perfectly. In the end, they succeeded, uploading the virus and escaping just as the Krell flagship began to lose control. The effect was immediate and devastating. Krell ships, suddenly without central coordination, began to collide with each other or fire on friendly targets. The Earth-Zithian fleet pressed their advantage, and within hours, the mighty Krell armada was in full retreat. As cheers erupted across the fleet, Sarah looked at Lyra and Vela. In that moment of triumph, surrounded by the chaos of battle, she made her decision. A new era begins. In the aftermath of the Krell defeat, a new age dawned for both Earth and Zithia. The alliance, forged in the heat of battle, grew stronger. Exchange programs were established, allowing humans and Zithians to learn from each other's cultures and technologies. At the heart of this new era stood Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, and her Zithian wives, Princesses Lyra and Vela. Their union, initially controversial, had become a symbol of the potential for harmony between different species. Sarah's decision to accept the marriage proposal had not been easy, but in the end, she realized that her feelings for Lyra and Vela, and the opportunity to bridge their two cultures, outweighed her doubts. The ceremony was a grand affair, blending Earth and Zithian traditions. As Sarah exchanged vows with Lyra and Vela, she felt a sense of rightness, of pieces falling into place. 5 years after the Battle of Zithia, Sarah stood on the balcony of the royal palace, watching the twin suns set. Lyra approached, carrying their daughter, a miraculous blend of human and Zithian DNA, made possible by advanced genetic techniques. "Penny for your thoughts?" Lyra asked, using the Earth idiom she'd grown fond of. Sarah smiled, taking the child into her arms, just thinking about how far we've come, and how far we have yet to go. Vela joined them, her warrior stance softened by years of peace. The latest reports show the Krell have withdrawn from this sector of space entirely. Our alliance has made them cautious. Sarah nodded, bouncing her daughter gently. Peace through strength and understanding. It's what we've always strived for. As they stood there, a family bridging two worlds, Sarah reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From a captain exploring unknown space to an admiral and princess consort, playing a crucial role in shaping the future of two civilizations. The challenges ahead were many. There were still those on both Earth and Zithia who viewed their union with suspicion. The galaxy was vast, with unknown threats lurking in the darkness between stars. But Sarah was confident that together, humans and Zithians could face whatever the future held. As the last light of the suns faded, Sarah turned to her wives. "Come on," she said. "Let's go inside. We have a big day tomorrow." Tomorrow would bring meetings with Earth diplomats, Zithian nobles, and military strategists. There would be decisions to make, policies to shape, and a future to build. But for now, in this moment, Sarah was content. She'd have found her place in the universe, bridging two worlds and forging a path to a brighter future. As she followed Lyra and Vela inside, their daughter cradled in her arms, Sarah Chen knew that the greatest adventure of her life was only just beginning. The end.